From architecture to painting and sculpture, literature to live music and theater. Radio 111 presents Bonnie G and Brian Mendoza with The Desert Scene, your connection to culture and entertainment in the desert cities. Here's Bonnie and Brian.
And welcome to The Desert Scene. I'm Bonnie G here with Brian Mendoza, my producer and partner in crime. And we're so happy to welcome to the show today Ilene Graff, who is going to do a terrific show coming up at CV Rep on Thursday, June 23rd, Broadway Musicals of the 1970s. Hi, Ilene. How are you?
I am here.
So welcome to The Desert Scene. And I wanted to ask you, first of all, is this your first time coming to Palm Springs to perform?
To perform, you know what? No, it isn't. No, it isn't. I did, years ago, I wish I could remember what year, a production of Jerry's Girls in Palm Springs. And it was so incredibly exciting because one night Jerry Herman came to see the show.
Wow. How great is that?
I got a really nice picture of him with the cast, and boy, what a thrill that was.
Absolutely. So I'm looking at a little bit of your bio from Queens, New York. Started as a teenager, performing background singer in commercials, then Broadway. So did you spend a lot of time kind of pounding the pavement, or did you find work as a performer pretty quick?
I was one of those insanely lucky people that got a job right out of college. I was off. I graduated college, went to do some summer stock, was called to New York to audition for Promises, and got the show.
Wow!
So
wow!
I did not suffer at the beginning of my career.
Well, that is lucky. So did you start, did you know as a child that this is what you wanted to do for a career? And did you have a supportive family?
Well, I had a very supportive family. My father was in show business. He was a singer. And so I grew up in show business. And although I didn't know as a child that that's what I would end up doing, I'm not surprised that that's what I ended up doing. It seemed to be the thing that I was most suited for. And of course, whatever I wanted to do, my parents were fine with. But becoming a singer was something that I slid into with relative ease.
Wow. And yeah, I'm looking, you're the daughter of Jerry Graff, who was a member of the musical group, the Pied Pipers. So did you feel that there were big shoes to fill, that because you had a successful father in this business, that you really had to work extra hard to sort of live up to his standards?
That's a really interesting question. No one has ever asked me that question before.
Okay, good. All right.
I've been doing interviews for 40 years. Good for you.
All right.
In some ways, I put certain pressure upon myself. Yeah, because I never got success as a studio singer because I was never the musician that my father was. My father was a great group singer, an incredible sight reader, and I did not have those skills. And I was always so glad that my skills lay in a different area, that I could act and that I could be in front, like in the spotlight,
right,
was fine with me. And that's not something that my dad did. But I don't feel like I let him down because I didn't become a successful studio singer. I feel like he was glad that I had that other thing.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yes, absolutely. Now, do you have siblings or any of other folks in your family musical?
I have a very musical family. I have two brothers, one of whom is a salesman who did not go into show business. But my youngest brother, Todd Graff, started as a performer as a child and went on to be nominated for a Tony for his work in the musical called Baby, and he writes and directs movies. So he's had a very long and flourishing career. And my cousin Randy Graff is also a Tony Award winner, who is currently appearing in Billy Crystal's new musical on Broadway called Mr. Saturday Night. And I have another cousin, Lori, who is also an actress and a performer. So we're all over the place.
Wow. So now, you're based in New York? Have you always stayed in New York, or you go back north to L.A. or to where?
I've lived in L.A. for over 40 years.
Okay.
when we go back to New York, it's to visit.
Mm-hmm. So tell us a little bit about this show that's coming up on the 23rd that you're doing with Glen.
Oh, boy, this is so much fun. We first did this on a Crystal Cruise about 5 years ago, I guess. I don't know what year it is anymore or when things happen. Everything is so screwy. Glen is a musical theater savant and historian and scholar. So what he put together for him and me is an evening talking about the musicals, the Broadway musicals of the 1970s. Mm-hmm. And the 70s is when I did my Broadway shows. So he'll be doing an overview of the musicals of the 70s, talking about all the various shows that were on Broadway at that time. He's got great video clips, and he's hilariously funny, and lots of personal opinions as to what he liked and didn't like. Mm-hmm. And then I will come out, and I will talk to Glen about my Broadway experiences and sing some songs. So it's going to be a really fun, lighthearted, entertaining evening.
Yeah. So throw out a couple of names. I'm trying to remember some of the musicals that were on Broadway in that era. What are some of the shows you're going to focus on?
Well, my 3 shows we're going to talk about are Promises, which was written by Neil Simon, mm-hmm. Bert Bacharach, and Hal David. We're going to talk about Grease, which just celebrated its 50th anniversary, would you believe?
Oh, my gosh.
And really. And we're going to talk about the last show I did before I moved to L.A., a Cy Coleman, Michael Stewart show called I Love My Wife. And so those are my 3 70s shows, but there's also shows like Pippin and Company and, some really big, wonderful musicals that people love and have been done over and over again.
Yeah. So have you worked many, many times with Glen together?
Many, many times? No, okay. Not many, many times. I wish we had, because he's one of my favorite people. He's one of my dearest friends, and I'm in awe of his breadth and depth of knowledge. Mm-hmm. And he's really funny. And he sings great, and he plays the piano. What more do you want from the host?
No, I can't imagine anything else. So one of the things I always like to, I'm a singer as well. I always like to ask singers when they come on the show two questions. Number one, do you have any particular rituals that you go through? Prayer, lucky socks, any specific things that you do before a performance?
I really don't. What I do is just try to be as prepared as I possibly can, as well rehearsed as I possibly can be, so that before performance I can just relax and share the stories with my audience. I also teach vocal performance, and that's something that I tell my students. We have certain breathing exercises that I encourage them to do before they perform to calm themselves down and settle down. Yeah. So I might do a little breath work, but at my stage of the game, I'm just raring to go. Just let's put those lights on. Let me hear the piano, and I'm
out
going.
there. Yeah,
I'm singing.
And the other thing I love to ask singers, performers, when you have time off, and when you get a chance to go see other folks, other shows, other singers, cabaret singers, etc., what are you hoping to see and hear?
I'm hoping to see a singer who is engaged with the story of their song, a singer who is eager to communicate the story and their own lives with the audience, a singer who makes me feel like I'm in their living room, especially in cabaret, as you know.
Yes,
that's the genius of the cabaret form, is that when I go see someone I love, for example, Eileen Barnett just played Stevie Rep, which is where Glen and I are going to be. She's a very good friend of mine, and I came out to the desert to watch her show, and I felt like I was sitting in her house, and she was just singing for me. Yeah. And I think I just love that. Plus, I like to hear a nice voice.
Sure. Yeah.
I like a good technical singer, make no mistake. As a teacher, I focus on that as well.
Yeah.
So those are the things I look forward to.
Yeah. Well, Ilene Graff, so the show is Broadway Showstoppers, the musicals of the 1970s with Glen Rosenblum. Is it Rosenblum, I think? Did I get that right? I hope.
Rosenblum,
Okay.
you are absolutely right.
So coming up at CV Rep, Thursday, January 23rd, 7 p.m. You can get tickets at cvrep.org. Ilene, so nice to talk to you. Hope you have a fabulous show. Welcome back to the desert. And
Thank you.
And I think you guys are going to be, I'm sure you're going to be fabulous. Thank you so much for being here today. I really appreciate it.
I appreciate it. Thanks for having me on.
All right. You have a wonderful day. All right. Ilene Graff, and we will see you guys next time on The Desert Scene.